What to the American slave is your 4th of July? Spoken in Rochester, New York in 1852 by Frederick Douglass. The narrator, Chazz, of Cries from the Womb.
This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. Do you mean citizens to mock me by asking me to speak today? What to the American slave is your 4th of July? A day that reveals to him, more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty, an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery, your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin vow to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloodier than are the people of the United States at this very hour. Go where you may, search where you will, roam through all the monarchies and suppression of the old world. Travel through South America, search out every abuse, and when you have found the last, lay your facts by the side of the everyday practices of this nation, and you will say, with me, that for revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without a rival.
What's going on, Chazz?
Not much. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. I like those words that you were using when we talk about these and how we get all caught up with these holidays and how they really don't do us any good. So I think that's important that we keep in mind, even as we celebrate this so-called Christmas and all of that, that we don't get carried away with all the nonsense, Chazz, because it doesn't make sense. That's not something that we should even be engaging in. But at the same time, we have to be able to be honest about most of these days that we celebrate have been given to us, and that really distorts our thinking when you really think about it.
Right, and it's something that's going around everywhere you go. You can't duck it. Everybody's telling you what Merry Christmas and all that, and it's kind of like I'm at a point where I just politely kind of tell people what I believe, and I just kind of keep going. But you can't really stop some of these people at this point. But yeah, I actually forgot. To tell you the truth, I forgot that we had made that song. So it's just so many we made, I actually forgot about it, but that was a good reminder.
Okay, having said that, my name is Jahi, and that's Chazz, and we want to welcome you to another broadcast of Adults Only. As you can see, this broadcast comes on every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time and at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And we want to start off by saying we thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedule, because it means so much to us for you to join us, to listen to some of the practical things that we talk about, and also to give you encouragement as well as you guys encourage us. So having said that, Chazz, let's pick up where we left off at. So if you know, at the bottom of your screen, we're going to be picking up by talking about practical ways of handling stress. Okay. So let's go with the different letters that we've been going to. I think we only got to F. So here's another way that we can actually handle the stress that we go through.
Seek professional help if necessary. Talk to a mental health professional for guidance and support. That's absolutely correct. There's nothing wrong with that. If you have the funds, because I know it can be expensive, talk to someone, even if it's not someone a professional, like if it's a family member, someone that you can confide in, that you know that won't run, tell your business to. Yeah, it's absolutely crucial that you get this done, because I'm telling you, if you hold this in throughout all the years and the days and the months, they stack up, and then eventually you just explode. So It's a good thing to get that stuff off of your chest with the mental health professional if you can.
And that's true, Chazz, because sometimes we just need to talk to people. You know, some of us really need professional help. We may need medicine, but for the most part, it's okay to just talk to someone, and be careful who we talk to, because some of us family members, they do have insight and they may give us some tips, but then be careful because a lot of our family members, they're just armchair psychiatrists and philosophers, and they can really mess you up, especially when you're going through a lot. And you
Okay.
don't really want to have anything piled on you. So make sure that that person knows what they're talking about when you talk about getting help.
Absolutely. And letter G, remember that managing stress is a journey. Find out what works best for you. That's what I'm saying. Try all kind of things. If you can't really find um, a certain solution, don't quit. Don't throw in the towel. Try different things. If talking to a counselor doesn't work, try getting you a notebook and a little journal. Write down in your journal what's stressing you out. Put it in your drawer, and the next day keep adding to it what's make you upset. But it's not about always finding one solution, brother. I would say there's many solutions. If you can't, don't feel comfortable with a journal, like we said, you can talk to someone. There's all kind of scenarios. Exercise. Try all these things to try to get this stress level under control.
Yeah, and this subject matter tonight, everyone, is a serious subject matter. That's why you see Chazz and I being serious about this. These are practical ways of handling stress. And every one of us, we're going through something right now. Now, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, we all have issues that we're going through, whether it's the job, whether it's our children, whether it's our finances, whether it's our health. There's a lot of things that we're all experiencing, and a lot of it brings this stress. But just remember this letter G. Remember that managing stress is a journey. It comes and it goes. And so when it comes, as Chazz just said, find out what works best for you, because what works best for you may not work best for me. And what works best for me may not work best for you. But at least find out what is it that's going to help you and I continue to tick, and that so that we'll be able to be a benefit to society, because a lot of us, we've given up and we don't realize that this stress is going to keep coming and keep going. Once we beat that, some people think once we beat one stressful situation, we're done. And then here comes another one and we don't we give up. So would you say that this is a journey? It's not like a little sprint.
Absolutely. And like you just mentioned, that's good that you highlighted. Just because you get through one scenario, as long as you're on this earth, you're going to have multiple things that's going to make you frustrated. And last but not least, before I forget, I keep saying this, and I said it last week, and I have to say it again. It's very important, because if you do not get this stress under control, you're going to go to get your blood pressure checked, and it's going to be a number that's outrageous, 165 over 89 or something like that. And sometimes the numbers could be bigger. And those blood pressure numbers are scary if you're not taking your stress, if you're not getting this stuff nipped in the bud early, basically. We got Sister Mashana Fires in here. She says, hello, we appreciate her. She said pagan holidays. Okay, she's aware. We appreciate that. Sister Marie Fires in here. She says, Hotel family. Hey, we appreciate her. We got Anuji's in the building. She says, peace and blessings, fam. We appreciate her. Sister Barbara Fires in here. She says, Hotel Kings. We appreciate her. Sister Barbara Fires in here. She says, I've discovered that talking out loud and deep breathing helps me calm my anxiety and stress. Thank you, fellas, for the help. Yeah, that's good. She's saying that she's trying all kind of things. She's not just getting frustrated and throwing in the towel. Breathing techniques work for some people. Meditation, yoga, I guess. These things work. So I'm glad that she's finding solutions.
And I think what she's really saying as well is she's dealing with the mind. It's the mental. See, the mind has to be dealt with, because all these problems that we go through and these stressful situations, they're going to keep coming at us. But if the mind is strong and the mind is durable, then we can take this and get through it. But if the mind is weak, if the mind is empty, if the mind is malleable, meaning that it goes wherever the wind goes, then we're going to find ourselves battling with it, and it takes its toll on us. So we're saying in love, brothers and sisters, tonight, please take care of your mindset, because a lot of it starts in the mind. It's the way we think. And that's why we should do this next thing when we talk about practical ways of handling stress.
Focus on the present and don't live in the stressor's grips. Don't continue to worry about what hasn't happened in the past, or move on. Or if I could add to a little bit to this ticker, brother, don't worry about what's going on in the future. See, some of us, we're so paranoid and nervous. We think, oh, in a couple more months, I may lose this car. Oh, in a couple more months, my health may fail me more and more. And I know that's not what it says on the screen, but I kind of think it ties into it because even though, yeah, we dwell on the past, some of the things that happen that makes us angry and frustrated. But, brother, there's a lot of us that are afraid of the future. It looks bleak. We're nervous. We don't want to think about it. And we're constantly thinking that something is going to go sideways when you could just be adding stress to your own self because it may not go the way you think.
That's right. Because of back to the mindset, we should focus on the present and don't live in the stressor's grips. Whatever is stressing us, we cannot allow that to just grab us and choke us and put a stranglehold on us. So we can't be worrying about that which has happened in the past. You see, some of us still living as if we're little children where we're just worried about the past. We can't do anything about that. So this ticker is saying we have to move on, Chazz. We definitely have to be serious to move on. And this is why I think these types of broadcasts and podcasts are crucial to the African American. They're crucial to everyone. But we're talking to the group of people that we look like because we're struggling every day. And when a lot of us don't focus on the present, Chazz, some of us are talking about something that happened like 25 or 30 years ago as if it just happened yesterday. Didn't say that we can forget everything, but we won't let it go, Chazz, because the mind is really weak and the mind is not strong. And this is why it's important for us to, as this thing says, we have to move on and go to a higher heights.
And I'm going to come back to that after I read Sister Barbara's comment. She fires back in here. She says, along with being consistent with my medications. Yeah, that's another one. If you are under medication and you have to take it, make sure that you're taking the dosages at the right times. Because, for example, if you're not taking your medicine and you're saying you're going to skip it, you don't feel like taking it, that can spike the blood pressure back up too, because now your body is getting used to this medication, and now you're saying you're going to quit cold turkey. Now, I'm not advising that people get high on drugs, but if you're under medication, you have to take it, because when you don't take it, it makes the situation worse. You get anxiety, you get more angrier quicker, and then it's just going to spike the blood pressure back up because you're not getting the proper medication, and that's why you're on it. And then last but not least, make sure that after you get it taken a couple times, that you try to kick that habit. You don't want to become a junkie. But I want to come back into that last kicker. We're holding on to, like you said, brother, we're sitting back. We're holding on to things that happened 30 or 40 years ago, like it happened last night. And here's the thing. Instead of squashing it and say, you know what, brother, I forgive you, or sister, I forgive you, we have this mindset that, oh, my family taught me and we ain't forgiving nothing over here, and stuff like that, where it's just ridiculous.
It really is, Chazz. And this is a wonderful discussion because we must talk about these issues. We must get these issues out on the table. We can no longer keep hiding these issues and acting like they're not going on. So this is a wonderful way to talk about how we handle the stress that we're all going through. Remember this one that's coming up now.
Remember that it's okay to feel stressed at times, but find a healthy way to cope with it. Yes, like we mentioned earlier, stress is a part of life. But how are we dealing with it? Are we dealing with it by shutting ourselves in, getting drunk as we can, getting high as we can, taking as many Xanax pills as we can? Or are we just shutting ourselves off to society? Listen, there's always a healthy way to deal with it. Like we mentioned earlier, talk to someone, write in a journal, exercise. These are all little things that's coming off my head. Call and talk to a family member that you can confide in, that you know that won't gossip about you behind your back. But the key thing is a healthy way, because when we deal with stress, brother, there's so many unhealthy ways that we're going about it, where we're eating left and right, we're smoking heavier, and I can keep going on and on. But like I said, you have to find a healthy way of dealing with it.
This broadcast is called Adults Only. And this broadcast tonight is talking about practical ways of handling stress. This is part 3. And we're telling you some tips that we all can apply to help us out, because we're all stressful at times. But look at this. This ticker says, remember that it's okay to feel stressed at times, because you can't stop it. We can't stop the things that happen to us from the standpoint of the unexpected. Right. So what we're saying is, when the unexpected finds its way into our lives, we're saying, find a healthy way to cope with it. Eating like a pig is not a good way and healthy way to deal with it. Right. Drinking like a fish is not a healthy way to deal with it. withdrawing oneself, lashing out at people, always complaining, always bickering, always trying to get the next man, always cussing his kids out, always fighting, always doing these things that are going to hurt us. So, brothers and sisters, as we come to you tonight, we pour our heart out to you to tell you that there's practical ways of handling stress, and all of us are dealing with it. Chazz is dealing with it. I deal with it. But this is a broadcast that's going to try to release the pressure from the African American to say, when stress comes upon us, you have to find that way to cope with it, because once you cope with it, you can move on to other things as opposed to waddling in this mess that's going on.
Yeah, and you can say it more. We have to find a healthy way of coping. We got another comment in here. Brother Ray Fires in here. He says, Black power with love and respect. What's going on, Ray? Sister Barbara Fires in here. She says, so many of us are afraid and in total denial of who we see in the mirror or what truly is deep-seated. Yeah, and that's not anything to be ashamed of. She's admitted. There are some of us who we look in the mirror, we don't like what we see. We say things in our head mentally. We call ourselves ugly, or we call ourselves too dark or too light. There's all kind of things that we're saying, putting ourselves down 90% of the time, but I'm glad she highlighted this. And like she said, there's some deep-seated things that are deep-seated in us, and it's going to take some time to get this stuff out of us.
Yeah, because these are learned behaviors. These are learned thinking patterns. Because most of us, if we love who we are, we wouldn't be stressed over trying to look like someone else, trying to be like someone else, trying to mimic someone else, trying to imitate someone else. You know, be yourself. But you're right, Chazz, because a lot of us have some deep-seated psychological issues. And this comment is so good because a lot of us are afraid of what we see, who we see in that mirror, because we have some deep-seated issues that we have not dealt with yet. And that's why it's so tough for us to beat this thing called stress at times.
Brother Ray's joking around. He says, I make ugly look good. But I want to take this one serious real quick. And I showed you this video years ago. There's a little girl. She's black. Her mother or her auntie or someone was braiding her hair. And this was deep-rooted in this girl from a young age. And this little girl looked at her mama and said, Mama, I am ugly. And the mom stopped doing the child's hair and had to pep talk her. And the kids start crying. And this video is touching. You could type this in on YouTube, you know, black girl calling herself ugly. And the mom had to really stop. And the mom was shattered. I was shattered here saying it because this girl couldn't be no more than 4 years old. And for her to be thinking like that, that you see that this happened at an early age. And I'm hopefully glad that the mom nipped it in the bud quickly.
Let me say something, Chazz, because we're talking about practical ways of handling stress. And we don't bring this out, and I think we need to bring it out now. We've been talking about adults stressing over jobs, et cetera, et cetera. But when are we going to talk about our children stressing, like you just mentioned? Many of our children are stressing. This is why the teenage suicide rate in the African-American community, in our community, the teenage suicide rate and the young people's suicide rate is at an all-time high. Wow. And it's because we are allowing our children to be stressed, and we don't talk to them. We don't ask them, what's bothering you, baby? How you feeling? And they'll tell us. We're so busy trying to get a man, trying to get a woman, trying to post a post, trying to make somebody think we're intelligent, trying to make people think we know everything, trying to make people think that we have everything together. And these children are suffering. And this is why even we put stress on our children when we call them names, when we curse them out. That's a stressful situation. Then they go to a school. The kids at school tease them. So here you have stress upon stress upon stress, and we wonder why our children are committing suicide at an alarming rate. It's because they're not dealing with this stress. And I'm telling you now, if you are an adult and you're talking to your children the way you shouldn't, you need to stop it. Yeah. I need to stop it. We need to stop cussing these kids out. Quit hollering at them. Quit getting in their faces. You're no good. This is not a good thing, Chazz.
Right.
Let's go on, Chazz, because I'm just getting worked up.
Okay. That was a good rant. Take a walk. Physical activity, even a short walk outdoors, can help clear your mind and reduce stress levels. Absolutely. I've been hitting this point home for years and years. If you can get up and you're not confined to a wheelchair, get your butt up, walk around your neighborhood for 5 minutes. Take a jog if you can run for about 20 minutes. If you can actually get up and do some jump rope for 10 minutes, do something. But sitting back and not doing anything at all, it makes the situation worse. And the doctors will even tell you, if you can, it's important to do some kind of physical activity, because if you don't, it's going to be a lot worse.
Sitting down, being sedentary, just sitting around eating popcorn, smoking cigarettes, watching TV, watching the phone, flipping and scripping and scrolling. This is a wonderful way of handling stress right here, Chazz. Get up, take a walk, go outdoors, smell the beautiful breeze, enjoy the sunlight, pick up a flower, smell a flower, drink some water, hug a tree, do something that's basic, that's going to help reduce those stress levels, because Chazz, right now we're struggling and a lot of us don't want to admit it. This is why we call this show Adults Only, because this is for adults. Children can watch it as well, but this is for the serious man and the serious woman, because many of us have played for too long, and this is why we're dying, because the stress is taking over us, because we won't do what you just said. Get up, turn that TV off, turn that music off, get your behind, get my behind to a park. Even if we have to walk around the house, there is no excuse for us to be so stressed and not do physical activity to help us. Wouldn't you agree to that?
I agree 1,000%. And I got to touch back up because I have it saved in my YouTube on my phone. And I've showed you this video, and everybody we talked about it, where this website, they're banking on, in I think it's 2030 or 2028. Well, they're banking on half of the world is going to be obese. Now, this is the sad thing, and I've been monitoring it. It's getting worse, because now it was at one point, it was just adults that they were concerned. Brother, they stopped even looking at the adults because they got them, brother. It's now affecting our teenagers and our youth. They show pictures of the youth and the teenagers compared to years ago. You can see a big difference between back then. Yeah, you had some heavy-set kids. But, brother, now the teenagers and kids now are even getting bigger at a higher rate. So this is something that we have to monitor and try to do something about if you can.
Yeah, we welcome you to Adults Only. That's this broadcast. It comes on every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Tonight, brothers and sisters, we're talking about something that we all should be engaging in. Practical ways of handling stress. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see that many of us aren't doing a good job. And this is why we're stressed out. And like you just mentioned, we get stressed, so we feed our kids grease. We get stressed, so we feed our kids sugar. We get stressed, so we pour salt in our children's food. We get stressed, so we give them sodas all the time, sweet juices. We get stressed, so we don't give them vegetables. We don't give them fruits. We don't give them the proper understanding of what they must do. We don't even encourage them. I've never heard a parent say this to their child or children. Let's go for a walk as a group. See, we don't even do that anymore. We are a sick people. Many of us are. So we're saying it like this because we don't want to be this way. So we're encouraging us to actually get out and do some things that's going to help us. Now, we have some comments, and we definitely want to talk about this, but this comment right here is going to blow the lid off of all of this. And when you see this comment, Chazz, I'm going to let you take it away, because I know you want to say something about this. We haven't touched upon it, but ready or not, here it comes.
Okay. Sister Marie fires in here. She says low self-esteem can cause stress. Yes.
That's heavy, Chazz.
This is a terrible thing, not her comment, but just the person who would look in the mirror or talk to themselves and say, I'm ugly, nobody wants me, I'm old, I'm run down, I'm dilapidated, all these things. Low self-esteem can cause stress. And to the sister's comment, if you are or know people who are dealing with low self-esteem, tell yourself politely kind things. I am enough. I'm good the way I am. I am a good person. I'm not a piece of crap or, something stuck on the wall. You can lift your self-esteem up by just telling yourself polite things on a daily basis. But that's shattering.
Chazz, and she's right, because we better quit allowing what people say to affect us. We always say sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never harm me. That's a lie. That is a lie. Words have caused us to do things that we haven't done. Many people I know that are so messed up inside because of this low self-esteem. We don't see ourselves for who we are. We don't even look on the inside to see how beautiful that is, because it's been tattered, it's been shattered, it's been tainted with all of this nonsense. So now, because we don't look like Beyonce, because we're not built like Glorilla, because we're not like these women and these men, we begin to think that we are messed up. And so therefore, we don't like what we see. I don't care how big you are, how small you are, how tall you are, how short you are. You must love yourself, because Chazz, self-love is where it all starts. And so often, many of us don't have love. So we run to the mosque. We run to the church. We run to the meeting. We run to the educational center. We run to the teaching. We run to YouTube. We run to Instagram. We run to Facebook. Yeah. And yet, when it's all said and done, it's back in the cell again, because the mind is so small. This sister put this thing right where it needs to be, and this low self-esteem must be dealt with. So we're saying to you, do not allow this low self-esteem to cause stress, because you're killing yourself.
Absolutely. That's sad. Brother Ray Fires in here, and he says, when people call me ugly, I say I make love like I'm ugly too. And that's the thing. People are going to always have something to say. People are always going to criticize us for our looks. Like I said, it's important to not let that get to you. And then there's some of the people who have the advantage, meaning they know you have low self-esteem, so they feed off that. And they constantly look and pick and nitpick at certain people, because they know I can get under his or her skin if I keep criticizing them. And that's just a terrible way to live.
Chazz, let me jump here because the queen says preach. So let's preach a little bit, because here's the deal. If you never tell your child, I love you, you are beautiful inside, this is what makes you wonderful, this is what makes you a fantastic person. I'm talking about every other day as they're growing up. See, now you're putting in them confidence. You're giving them their true identity. You've come from a great people. You've always been a part of a group of people that have been very instrumental in doing things in the world. See, you got to keep putting that in these kids. You can't let them listen to this crap in these music videos, because that denigrates them. So now they think they got to blow somebody's brains out. They got to outdo the next man. They got to outdo the next woman. They got to be built like a certain way. And Chazz, I want to say this as we go on. Okay. I fought us as adults. I fought every one of us, because we have not done a great job. Now, to those who have, I applaud you and say, keep going. We have not done a great job as parents and as adults in this time, in this day, as far as encouraging these kids, encouraging these young ones, so that when they grow up, they would say, I don't care what you say about me. My mama and my daddy, my uncle, my aunt, my sister, my brother, my niece, my nephew, they put it in me at a young age that I am great and that I am beautiful, and that no matter what you say, I'm not going to allow that to stop me.
Absolutely. Brother Ray Fires in here. He says, a beautiful personality will make an unattractive person attractive. Yes. And I'll take it a step further. I'll flip it around. There's a person who could be beautiful, who has on all this makeup, all these extensions, all this stuff, but their attitude is so ugly, it makes them ugly. And I'm starting to see that more and more. And I hate to come up with this theory, but the more attractive people are, the more narcissistic they are, the more evil that they are, because they let their beauty and confidence get to their heads. So now what they saying, I could treat the next man like crap, or I could treat the next woman like crap, because I'm all that in a bag of chips, and it's not fair. And back to Brother Ray's comment, it is absolutely spot on. There's some people who aren't attractive, but they have a good personality, and that outdoes their looks. So he's absolutely spot on, I would say. Good comment, Bray.
I want to go deep into what Ray just said. I want to go deep into that. And again, I want to thank Brother Raymond, because his Facebook has gotten hacked. And he called me. He called me this afternoon, and he had to make sure that he had gotten a friend request, because he loves this broadcast. He wants to be on. He wants to share with us. So I want to let him know I appreciate that, because most people, they could care less about this kind of information. But that shows that he's committed to conversating and helping people learn how to deal with the problems that we have. Now, back to what I'm going to say. As far as this comment, a beautiful personality will make an unattractive person attractive. He's right, because my thing is this: who told you you were unattractive? Whose standards are you using to say you're ugly? Who told you that you have to measure yourself with somebody else? See, this is a Eurocentric thought process that have screwed us up and has caused stress on all of us, because we don't know how to handle the very person that we are. We don't know how to do it. So again, I hate to keep saying this. So we run to these buildings, and we want these buildings to pat us on the back. We want these buildings to make us feel good. When if on the inside of you, Chazz, if that cannot make you feel good, you're almost a failure from the standpoint of you missing the point, and you're not going to be able to deal with stress, because when you know who you are, when you love who you are, then stress is going to come and going to go. It's not going to stay like it's been doing in many of our lives.
Sister Barbara fires in here. She says, bitterness and being an unforgiving individual causes stress. Absolutely. And we talked about this earlier. You have to forgive people. You cannot hold on to things that happened 10, 20, 30 years ago and think that won't have any kind of effect on you. It definitely will, because you're holding on to it. When the person you're angry at, they're probably not even thinking about it. And if you bring it up to them, they're not going to care. So she's right. If you're unforgiving, it will cause stress, and bitterness does too as well. So she's absolutely spot on about that.
Yeah, and we hold on to things. We hold on to things for so many years, and it stresses us out. We don't see it as stress. We just say, I've been having something against that person for all these years, and not knowing that all those years we're piling the stress in our own hearts and don't even realize it. So to all those that are watching this broadcast, we want you to know that you've got to let this stuff go. There's too many issues that's going on in our lives. There's too much going on. How could you not watch something that's going to help you and help me? How could a mindset of a person who knows they're stressing not want to find out, how do I deal with this stress? Well, you deal with it by putting this bitterness away and being a forgiving person.
Absolutely. Brother Ray fires in here. He says, my super part is I don't care what the next person thinks of me. My self-love and self-respect is sufficient. Absolutely. And I've gotten to that point, and I've said it long ago, and people tell me this, not that I'm cocky, but they tell me, you ought to start caring. You ought to start doing this. And I always tell these people in a polite way, like Brother Ray said, I don't care, because when you get to that point, and I'm spot on with Ray when he says this, when you don't care about what people think or say about you, you have the advantage, because now you're not stressed. Now you're not worried. Now you're not trying to make sure that you are pleasing this next person.
Yeah.
So now you're absolutely free. And if you can get to that level, like Ray said, where he doesn't think about what the next man or woman says about him, you will definitely be at peace. So he's
Chazz, you and Ray are two of a kind. In other words, what you're saying is fine, and I say it as well. But unfortunately, there are too many of us that do care. We do care about what our family thinks about us. We care about what our friends say about us. We care about how people see us. So what we do is we get stressful because we go around and we try to be the people that they want us to be. How asinine is that? How silly is that? We try to be people that other people want us to be. Like you might tell me, Ja, every time you wear that red suit, you look real good. You ought to get that. And everybody else do that. So what I do is when I wear this black suit or I wear this black clothing, no one says anything to me. So I remember what everybody said. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to run out and try to find that red suit. So it goes again. And they're lying to me. But because my mind is so weak, this is what we have to teach ourselves, and we have to teach our children. I always say it like Raymond and yourself says it, and it's true. You should not care what no one says about you, because you know who you are. But again, Chazz, we live in a society where everybody wants someone to love them.
Brother Ray fires back in here. He says, speaking positive affirmations on your children every day. Absolutely. And we said this earlier. You have to do these things. Now I'll read his next comment and I'll come back to it. He says, the worst woman I dated was the prettiest woman I've dated. He's spot on. But I want to go back real quick on this. For the people who do have kids, it is important because these young kids are going to school with their heads down. The teachers are noticing they're nonchalant. They're off to themselves. They don't want to play with the other children. They're all standoffish. They can't really talk to the teacher because they're breaking down crying. These are all signs that these kids are troubled. So that's why it's important, even if they get bad grades. Now, I'm not advocating for them to fail in their classes, but the point is when they fail in some of these classes, quit tearing them down, quit ripping them down, quit humiliating them. And this is important for us to tell our children how they're loved, how they're going to always be loved, and to basically speak good things to them instead of doing the opposite. And then I'll stretch it real quick if I can to raise next comment. He said something about the previous girl he dated was pretty much unattractive. He said the worst woman he dated was pretty much giving him a hard time, because these people, women and people are, when they're all, not all, some who have a high standard and they feel like this makeup and all this stuff makes them, they kind of make it hard, and they're cocky, and it makes it hard for everybody else. So yeah, that's all I had to say on that one.
Let me tell you how we cause stress in our children's lives. We cause stress in simple ways of even a report card. At Liberation Academy, which is the school that I work at, we do not give letter grades. There are no such thing as A students, B students, C students, D students, F students. When you give that child an F or D and they bring it home, that parent is going to ride that child and call them stupid and beat them and make them think that they're ignorant, that they're dumb, they don't know. And that carries on with our black boys and our black girls. When they get older in the 10th grade, they get a D, they keep getting F. They tell people, I'm a D student, I'm an F student. So they put their self-worth in that. That's stressful to them. See, we don't give letter grades. You're not a letter. Do you understand the information? Are you working on the information? Is it my responsibility to help teach you that information? That's why we don't give those types of grades to our students, because that puts stress on the student. I hope I get an A. My mama gonna beat me. Some people bring home B's and they get whacked. You know you're an A student. This is a sickness that we have in the United States of America. This is a sickness that most of us have gone through, but we don't want to come clean, and this causes stress. Stop telling your child that they're a certain student. I don't care if they get all A's. That does not mean that they are a brilliant student. That means that in European society, in the European educational system, they are doing what Europeans want them to do. And Europeans are basically giving them a pat on the back to say, yes, little boy, yes, little girl, you're doing just what I want you to do. Therefore, you're going to be successful. And that's not true.
Absolutely. Brother Ray Fires back in here. He says, forgiving a person doesn't mean you give them a chance to do more. You have to forgive them for. Sister Barbara says, Ashay, be you. If you could comment on Brother Ray's comment, I'm kind of lost at what he was.
He's talking about when you forgive a person, that doesn't mean you keep letting them do you wrong. It's now when people are causing stress in your life and you forgive them, and they keep doing you the same way they've done you, causing more stress. He's saying you're giving them an opportunity, and that shouldn't be. Sister Barbara, she says, Ashay, she says, be you. Stop allowing other people to cause stress in your life. Be who you are. Love who you are. No, you're not perfect. No, I'm not perfect. We're working on the things that we should, and it takes time in many instances. But we got to stop that wanting people to think we're more than we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Brother Ray Fires in here, and he says, people come and tell me something bad a person said about me. I told them they didn't say it to my face, so they didn't say anything. And then he also comes back and says, my mother used to stand over me with a belt around her neck when I struggled over my class lessons.
He's right. Yeah? He's right. Because we're so Europeanized, we whipping these kids because they got an F. You know, that's stupid. Why would you do that to a child just because they may not understand this Eurocentric indoctrination? You know, this is why I'm telling you, Chazz, we have to learn how to handle stress. And many of us, we don't know how to handle stress. And here's something that we can do that I think is going to help out a lot.
Lighten up. Laugh sometimes. Often humor can lighten your mood and reduce stress. Absolutely. If you can, get on YouTube and look up some stand-up comedy. Do things that's going to make you laugh, because that does bring the blood pressure down a little bit. It actually help you sleep better at night.
Yes,
And it
sir.
actually just overall, you're just overall a better human being when you're laughing and calm, because when it's the opposite, when you're not laughing, you got a stoic face. You don't want to talk to people. It makes people uncomfortable to be around you. So I absolutely agree with what you said, brother. Lighten up. We're too serious. Not that we have to be serious all the time, but lighten up. Laugh a little bit. Have some fun.
I can't even get my words off for laughing for the truth that you're spewing. You know, the reason that many of us don't lighten up, the reason that we don't laugh sometimes, the reason why we're so stoic, as you said, is because stress has gotten the best of us. Stress has gotten on our nerves so much that we cannot find joy in life. We cannot find peace in life. Stress is on our backs. Stress is on our chest. Stress is on our head. We cannot shake that thing. It's on our shoulders, and we can't get rid of it. And this is why on this broadcast, people often say, you guys seem like you're having fun when you're doing this broadcast. We do have fun. We have personal issues. We're not perfect, but I'm not going to sit on this broadcast and be stoic. Everything we say is just straightforward and nobody can laugh. We're humans, man. And we've got to stop being so serious all the time. There are times when things aren't serious, and there are times when things are serious. But come on, man. You mean to tell me we can't laugh? I think Kirk Franklin said in one of his songs, he says, smile. You know, I haven't seen people's teeth. I haven't seen people's teeth. I haven't seen people's teeth in many. No, I haven't. I haven't seen people's teeth in many days because they're so uptight, man. You can look at them and tell. And then when you talk to them on the phone, all you got to do is listen to them, and you know that stress has got the best of them. They're not themselves again. They're waiting for a crack. They're gonna go off on you. Let your children see you have fun. Roll around on the floor and have fun with your children. We got to do more of that, Chazz. I think we really do.
Yeah, we absolutely. And that's why I keep stressing, and you know this as well, my little routine where when I'm constantly playing basketball, that's more of when I'm free and having fun, having a good time that takes the stress off. So that's my little thing I like doing. But Brother Ray Fire is back in here. He says stress people make more children. Sister Mashonda Fires in here. She says laughter helps with stress. It absolutely does. It does.
And I can hear an idiot. I can hear an idiot saying this now. Well, laughter ain't gonna help my situation because I'm still stressed out. Laughter is not the cure for stress. We didn't say that. Right. We said that when you're stressed, laughter helps us out internally. It doesn't keep us uptight. It doesn't keep us always wired up. It doesn't keep us cold. It doesn't keep us, grumpy. It doesn't keep us all the time ready to just jump at the nearest thing that someone says to us. Laughter helps with stress as we're going through. Eventually, we're going to get rid of the stress, and we can still say, even though I was going through, I could laugh. And a lot of times you can tell when people are stressed, Chazz, because they don't laugh, because they'll tell you, don't come up here don't play with me today. That's a sign. Right. That's a sign that they're stressed,
Well, I was just gonna say, like, if you're talking to them on the phone, this individual where they're not really loud, they're giving 1 or 2 word answers. Everything is quick and to the point. That's how you know they're stressed. This is no way to be. It's not. Letter K. Practice gratitude. Take a moment to think about things that you're thankful for, which can shift your focus from stress to positive aspects of your life. Absolutely. Listen. All of us who are still living, we all have some kind of issues that we're going through in this life. There's nobody who's perfect, that's stress-free, that's just having a ball. We all are dealing with things, but there's always something that we can be thankful for. As far as me holding this cell phone, I think about these little things all the time. There's a gentleman or a woman who has their wrist cut off because of some kind of condition. There's some man or woman who doesn't have their vision right now because of some kind of condition. I can keep going on and on, but these are things we should be thankful for. Just to get up and be able to take yourself to the bathroom and take a shower. Don't you know there's some individuals who have to have a caregiver shower them because of some kind of disease? So these are some of the things that we need to be thankful for. Now, I know a smart aleck will say, well, that's not putting any money in my pocket, or this isn't really helping my situation. but it can make the situation a lot worse when you're not thankful about these small things, like I just mentioned.
And you notice, Chaz, many of us who are many of those who are going through stress, many of us who are stressed out all the time, we are some of the most ungrateful, unthankful. We're ingrates. We're always complaining because we don't look at the things you just said. And we got to tell our children that too. So we got to make sure that when we're talking about practical ways of handling stress, that we sit down and think and say, wait a minute. Yes, I am going through something right now, but it may not be as bad as I think. But see, I'm pouring everything on me. I'm pulling in the bills. I'm pulling in the relationships. I'm pulling in the health. I'm pulling in all this. So we've got to start saying, what can we do to release this stress? African Americans are going through every day, the job, the spouse, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the bills, the health, everything's the job. It just seemed like the family, the world is caving in on us. So me and Chazz tonight are just telling you all, practice gratitude. That's just one way of handling stress. And don't think that we said that if you do these things, your stress going to go away. No, your stress is going to go away when you deal with it, when I deal with it. But these are things that we can do to help us while we're going through that, Chazz. I know you agree with that.
Oh, yeah, I agree with it 100%. Letter L, engage in activities you enjoy. Do things that make you happy, such as listening to positive music, dancing, playing with children. These things will distract you from stress. Absolutely. Now, there's a balance that we should have, because I know there's some that will say, well, when things stress me out, I do this, I do that, and they're going farthest away from it, but they're not in reality. But we do, even if it's not playing video. Now, I don't play games, but I'm saying play video games. Do something. Get on the internet and look up some funny home videos that make you crack up. Do something, because I'm telling you, sitting back, contemplating on it, dwelling in it, always complaining. These things are not good. And once again, like we said on the screen here, make sure that you're doing something that you enjoy. Even if it's something as easy as watching YouTube, do something.
There's got to be something that you like to do, Chazz. I can't tell you what to do. You can't tell me what to do, but there's got to be something that every one of us like to do to help us release this stress. But here's what I want to say to my young brothers out there, all of my young brothers out there. If you're dealing with an issue, I want to use this for an example. If you have a case already where you got to go to court within the next 3 months and you got a case pending and you're trying to beat this thing, you have no business listening to this music that tells you go get a gun and pop her in and blow its brains out. You have no business doing all these things. Listen to all this stuff that gets in your psyche that makes you want to go do something. You're already stressed out because you don't know what's going to happen with this case. And instead of saying, let me do some positive things, you're going to engage in the very things that's gotten you stressed right now. And then if it doesn't turn out, now you got a whole lot of stuff on you, because now not only have you gotten dealt with, you're going to be getting dealt with again because of what you just did. Because instead of sitting around listening to all that nonsense, you didn't do something that you enjoy. You didn't go bowling. You didn't talk to your grandmother. You didn't talk to your grandfather. You didn't do some things that's just helpful to help us. And Chazz, people don't want to hear this stuff, but this is what it's all about, because we're trying to help you with these practical ways. We're trying to help ourselves. And again, we appreciate all of you who watch this broadcast.
Of course.
This broadcast is all about helping you and helping us, because we're all dealing with stress, and we truly appreciate you.
Absolutely. We do as well. We absolutely appreciate all the viewers that we get. Letter M. Remove yourself from the situation that's causing stress and focus on your inner being. Yeah, we all have a idea of when something is not turning around. We have an idea of something that's getting more and more chaotic by the second. And when you see these things, remove yourself. I mean, of course, try to come up with a solution. Wait around for a few days to see if it'll work. But if it doesn't, quit putting your hand to the fire, because you see it's not working. You see your stress levels are getting worse. You see the situation is getting worse. So at some point, you have to say, okay, I've done what I've tried. I've done what I've could. The situation isn't working. So I have to remove myself, because if I keep staying in this situation, it's just going to get nothing but worse. So remove yourself from it.
And let me add to that, Chazz. Let me jump in there on this one too, because sometimes I'm going to use you as an example. You are not like this, but let's say you were causing me stress. And every time I come around you, you're causing me stress. You're telling me things. You're trying to get things out of me. You're just stressful. So I should remove myself from you. You see, I got to stop coming around you. But because we want to say, well, no, that's my homeboy. We've been together for all these years. So in other words, the mind is so reductive. It's so weak. The mind is so malleable. The mind is so skimpy that it doesn't know that we must remove ourselves from that situation. Instead of removing ourselves, many of us run to the situation. You see, we run to the situation, and then we're not doing what this says, which is building up ourselves. So again, brothers and sisters, this broadcast is called Adults Only. This is for anyone. Your children can watch it. We're not using vulgar language. We're not talking about something they can't hear. This is an encouragement because this is for adults. We got to start leading our children, leading ourselves. And the way we can do that is we've got to handle this stress, Chazz. This stress is too much. And most of the people that's watching this, if they're honest with themselves, even me, we should be ashamed of ourselves because we're stressed to the hilt right now. We're stressed and we're not doing anything about it, hoping it's going to go away. But these are situations that we can actually do something about.
Letter N, love yourself enough to not allow anyone or anything to constantly stress you. Absolutely. Like we just mentioned, try to put a wall up and say, you know what? I'm going to try to put, not put a wall up, but put yourself in a situation and say, I got a solution. I'm going to give it a week or two, see if it works. If it doesn't, I'm going to politely remove myself because I cannot sustain letting someone stress me out, worry me, or get on my nerves. And these are things that we should take seriously because as I keep mentioning, as I did earlier, our blood pressure is going to tell when these things are out of control. So make sure you get that check.
Exactly. Love yourself enough not to allow anyone or anything, you hear that? Anyone or anything to constantly stress you. The self-love, which we're going to have to do a broadcast about. We cannot run any longer from this one. We've got to dive in this one. Love yourself, because a lot of people don't know what that is. They talk about it, but they don't know what it is and how to do it. So we need to do a broadcast on what does it mean to love yourself? How does one love themselves? Because I don't think we realize that, you know. So, but as this letter N rather is saying, Chazz, we must love ourselves enough to not allow anyone to stress us. I don't care whether, now this may be hard. It may be your mama. It may be my daddy. It may be your brothers. It may be my sister. It may be your cousin. It may be your coworker. It may be your friend. It may be anyone. Do not allow anyone to constantly, because we all stress each other, but notice it says constantly. You know that this person constantly stresses you, but yet you're not loving yourself enough to say, I'm not going to allow this. Teach your children that too. Teach your grandchildren that. Today's broadcast is about practical ways of handling stress. This gentleman over here to the right is Chazz. I'm your big brother Jahi, and all we're doing is talking about practical ways of handling stress. Take it away, Chazz.
If you could go back, I want to touch up a little bit on this last point right here. Okay, here's the thing I want to say. Now move on quickly. If a person, like I think Sister Marie said earlier, if a person has low self-esteem, they see themselves as nothing, they think themselves are nothing, and they just have a negative opinion about themselves, they will allow people to stress them. They will allow people to treat them any kind of way because they're looking for some kind of approval from others. So I just wanted to just say that real quick, and I'm not making fun of anyone who has any of these stress levels, but I noticed that that's why we look at some of these situations and we say, why does such and such keep staying with him? Why are they still together? Well, one of the other in the relationship, I'm pretty sure, doesn't care, but they keep sticking around hoping that that other person accepts them. So they'll let that person treat and do them any kind of way just to say that they got a husband or a wife or a boyfriend or girlfriend.
You miss your calling, brother. You miss your calling. You should have been a psychiatrist.
No. Know that stress can be minimized when one addresses their issue and not think that it will go away if not dealt with. I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, what we're saying is you can wish it away. You can pray it away. It's not going to happen. If you have a health problem, Chazz, and you know that you have a health problem, And instead of you going and getting that health problem addressed, you can stay on your knees till you wear your pants out. You can call the skies. You can call the skies as long as the skies are up there till they turn purple. You can cry a mountain. You can do anything you want, but that thing is not going to leave you alone. When you go take care of that situation, then and only then will that stress go. And so what we're saying is you've got to stop living in a fantasy world. Okay. You know, you're not this person that has $1 million. Right. You can't live like that. You can't think like that. Take care of your family. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health. Take care of your mind. Take care of your soul. Take care of your body. Take care of all of these things. And these needs, Chaz, you will not be as stressful. But when we know that we have issues and we say, you may ask me, Big Brother Jahi, what are you doing about that issue you've been telling me about? Chaz, I ain't going to do anything. I'm just going to let it happen. It's just going to go away on its own. That's a lie. It's not going to go away. Or we're going to wait till the new year, Chaz. That's the new one. We'll wait till the so-called new year. On the 1st of January, we're going to start putting stuff aside and say, I'm going to handle it. Isn't that insane, Chaz?
Yeah, and you start to see that, and I'm not here to criticize these people, but like, for example, if we know we have a problem with smoking nicotine or cigarettes, why should I wait until the new year? Or like there's some who are already sending on the internet, I can't wait till the new year because they're going to start their health journey, where they're going to go to the gym. It's ridiculous. Letter O. Connect with other people that bring positivity to your life and not prolong negative tension. Yeah, and we all have someone that we know that's a positive person, that's not in the streets, that's not doing things that can involve law enforcement. Call them up, hang around with them, meet up with them. That'll help bring some stress off of us and make sure that when you guys get together, I hope you guys are doing things that won't get the law enforcement involved, but just make sure that you're around clean, positive people who will uplift your spirit instead of the other ones who are going to make your situation 9 times out of 10 a lot worse.
Here's something that really is profound by Brother Ray. What is he saying?
He says, instead of stressing, do something about it. That's basically practical. What you just mentioned.
That's practical, Chaz. That's practical. We always complain about how something or someone is stressing us, but we don't do anything about it. And to me, that's problematic. So we're saying the way to handle stress is to do something about what it is that's stressing you or stressing me. And we all have stressors. Teach your children this. Teach those whom you love this. You've got to do something about the situation at hand. It's going to kill you, man. It's going to have you have ulcers. It's going to make your hair fall out. It's going to make you look old before the time. It's going to make all these things happen to you. So here's something I need you to take your time and read, because we don't have any more points. So we're going to ride this thing out. We're going to ride it out until we get all these comments. We have about 5 of them. So we have about 3 minutes. So instead of shutting down after the hour, we're going to give you overtime. So if you're out there today, you should be happy, because in a sporting event, when you go into overtime, everybody's happy. So Chaz and I, we're going into overtime tonight, and let's see what we come up with, Chaz. Here's a long one, but deal with this one.
Okay, Sister Barbara Fison here. She says, my grandmother always taught us that charity starts at home and spreads abroad, yet that teaching can go 2 ways. Either you're going to be taught love or you're going to be taught hate. Hate is taught with criticism, and negative, destructive criticism is what some people carry for a lifetime, which is stress from a childhood to adulthood. Trauma with 3 exclamations. Yeah, I'm gonna let you take that one. Then
it's well said. It's well said, Chaz. Some people are just very negative and they bring stress. Some people are the opposite. Who are you going to be with? That's the question. Because we all know people that are just as negative as they come, and we know people that are positive. Not people that's going to let you run over them, but people that really, when you have a problem, they're going to tell you some positive things. They're going to tell you some applicable things to do about the situation. Then you got those Debbie Downers. They always complain. They tell you, well, since you're stressed out, if I were you, I'd just go get me 4 or 5, drinks, and that may cause it. Or I'll go ahead and pop somebody. See, this is what I'm saying. Yes, there's people like that. You're laughing, but it's people like that they don't give what we need. And instead of us knowing that there's 2 ways, there's always 2 ways. Instead of us listening to the right way, we listen to the wrong people and end up in trouble.
Brother Ray Fires in here. He says handling stress the wrong way is having a good time as escapism to the point of irresponsibility. He's right. And I think I said that earlier to where, yeah, it's okay to try to escape, but when we're escaping to the extreme, where we're escaping, putting our life in danger, where we're escaping, trying to just do something that we know isn't good, and we know the ramifications. These are just terrible ways of coping with it. It's just the Barbara Fires in here. She says, I enjoy going to Planet Fitness and listening to my blues when I'm stressed. It's a great relief. That's good.
It really is.
You're laughing.
She's finding something that makes her happy, and she's taking care of her body while she's going through the situation. That's a beautiful, practical way. See, and this is what I like about this broadcast. You and I have practical things that we study to bring to the people. But the audience that we have, they're very practical. They're always bringing different things to the table that we can look at. She says, I enjoy going to Planet Fitness. See, most of us run from Planet Fitness. We run to the donut shop. We run to the liquor store. We run to all the Facebook media crap. We go to do all these things. But she's saying this is a practical way to handle stress. And maybe if your children see that, maybe they won't grow up doing the very things that you shouldn't do to keep bringing stress in our lives.
Brother Ray has a good comment. He says, just face the music. You got to. You could try to run from it, but you have to eventually look at that music and face it. Brother Ray Fires back in here. He says, too many black people are always asking why white people don't like them. It is very sad to see and hear.
If you don't know that by now, and these people cause stress, much stress on our jobs, in our lives, in politics, in religion, in every facet of life. And we ought to know that. But it's sad, like Brother Raymond said, it's sad to see it here because a lot of us don't love ourselves enough. We need that person to validate us, see? And that's one of the things that makes me want to throw up when a grown person has to have another person tell them something to make them feel good or to make them want to tour with the band. If you don't tell them that, they don't want to tour with the band. They want to stay at home until another song comes out. I'm speaking in figurative terms so that people can understand that there's more to what we're saying.
Right. Sister Barbara Fires back in here. She says, I love this broadcast. The teaching is very helpful and informative. We appreciate you for listening and watching.
This is what we always, we talk about this off the air, Chazz and I. We want to come up with things that are practical, things that we all can do. Now, a lot of broadcasts are just as good as this broadcast, and many of them are better than this broadcast. But we like to pride in our practicality, the things that are just down to earth. And when we get together and talk about what we're going to put on the screen, we try to do these things that are just sensical, you see. We don't want to be like some broadcasts and they have their time for it where everything is so deep, everything is so lofty, everything is so out there, and that's fine too. But we gotta meet the people where the people are, and most of us are stressed out, and a lot of us don't want to deal with that.
Sister Barbara Foster here. She says, "Laugh out loud." The New Year. She's making fun of the New Year, New Me people who are constantly on the internet saying that. Brother Ray Foster here. He says, "Angry rap is modern blues." Yeah.
So tonight, Chazz, we have had a very healthy discussion, and this discussion has been about practical ways of handling stress. All of us are going through stressful times right now, Chazz. And we're in overtime now because this broadcast is seen from 6 o'clock Central Standard Time to 7. But we're already past an hour. But at the same time, we want you to know that when we're dealing with a subject, sometimes we have to go beyond the hour because this is some good language. This is some good talk. These are practical ways. I just wish that people would take seriously what we're saying and watch this broadcast every Wednesday. You know you're going to get something. You may not go to church. You may not go to the mosque. You may not go to your spiritual guru meetings. But can you come to Adults Only and sit down and listen to the truth? The two brothers and other people that watch this broadcast, that comment, that we say to try to help us. This is a group effort. All of us are in this thing together, Chazz. And we have to let people know that this broadcast is a serious broadcast. And we want you all to know that we really care for you. And that's why we say these things.
Brother Ray Fires at the end, he says, Imhotep to you all. Sister Barbara says, Shimhotep. And Sister Mashonda says, Shimhotep, brothers. appreciate all three of you guys for commenting.
What do you have for closing remarks, Chazz? Now we're gonna do some on this love thing. Don't forget that, because we've been running from it for many years. But now it's time for us to, as someone said, it's time for us to face the music. How does one love themselves? What is love? When should love be displayed? Who should be receiving our love? These are the interrogatives. These are the things that we should be discussing, you see, because people need to know that stress will kill you, as this brother just said. Stress will kill you, especially when you don't do anything about it. And most of us are in that boat. We just talk about it. I'm going through so much. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. You're going to die if you don't do anything about it. Your children are going to be mixed up in every kind of way. I'll let you close us out, Chazz, because I'm on a soapbox now. So when I get through, I'll let you close us out. But we want to say again, please watch this broadcast from its inception. If you can't, or you just came in late, go back and watch it again. These truths that were said tonight were very profound, and these truths will help you, because we're talking about practical ways of handling stress. Your mama, my daddy, your grandmama, my granddaddy, your children, all of us are struggling with stress. Why can't we sit down and listen to some practical things that's going to help us, some ways that we can handle stress? So again, I am your big brother Jahi. That's Chazz. If we live to see it next Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, we're going to be talking about this whole idea of loving oneself. Please tell friends about this broadcast. We've had many people that commented tonight and they're doing this broadcast, and we love you for it. Someone is going to have to sit down and quit playing games with us and tell the truth about how do we handle the situations that we face on a day-to-day basis. And me and Chazz and I, we're just two. There are many others that do it, but we're just two that's not afraid to tell you the truth, no matter what you think about us. We love you, and I'm out for now, but I'm going to let Chazz take us home, because that's what it's all about. Teaching the people that if we don't avoid this stress, it's not only going to kill us, it's going to kill our children, it's going to kill our grandchildren, it's going to kill our great-grandchildren, it's going to kill our great-great-grandchildren, and our ancestors went through so much stress so that we wouldn't have to. But what are we doing? We're stressing just as much as they are, and we have no reason to be that way. Take us home, Chazz.
This is a good broadcast. I appreciate you for having me on, all the commenters that commented tonight. But tonight was a serious broadcast about stress, how we handle it, the things that we're doing to cope with it. Some of the things that we're doing are not helpful, and we have to get in the situation to say, you know what? I am going through stress. I'm going to admit it. I have a problem. It's very frustrating right now. But like we mentioned, we have to try to address it. We have to make sure that we're taking steps in the right direction to handle this stress. Also, when stress comes our way, what do? Do we act like little kids and just run and hide and just run away? Or do we handle it straight up and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm frustrated. Yeah, I'm angry, but I have to take this problem head on and make sure that I'm getting this out of the way. And then last but not least, when we're stressed, don't make the situation worse by running, like we said, drinking, smoking, doing all these things that's going to make the situation worse. When you're stressed, tell yourself, you know what? I have an issue. If I need to get a journal, I'll write something down. But make sure that you're not adding more fuel to the fire by, like I said, smoking or drinking and doing more things. We appreciate everyone who watched this broadcast today. We hope to see you next week. I had a good time tonight. Take care, everyone.